Okay, Madam President, it's 6 o'clock. We are recording. I can go ahead and let the other individuals in if you'd like.
Yeah, Tom, are you connected to audio?
Tom, can you hear us?
Tom? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Tom's connecting his audio right now.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and bring everybody in. He's shaking his head.
Because every time I open my damn computer, there's always a different setting that needs to be screwed with.
Well, we can hear you now, Tom.
Get annoying.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Do the cat filter, Tom.
Yeah. Good Lord, I'll never get that off.
Right? It was one of the most viewed Zoom meetings from this year.
I'm really into the Bobcat video now, though.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't see
That's
that one.
crazy. That is some crazy stuff.
I just want a new husband because my husband would not be that nice to me. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the scary part is when he whipped out his gun.
That's how we do it in the South.
I did not see that.
Yeah, what he
I
had
haven't
like
either.
shorts and he
Yeah.
had what, work boots on and a jacket, right?
Good morning.
Well, at least he put his coffee down.
Yeah,
He did.
So I'm gonna start dealing with stray birds in my bushes.
Yeah, sorry about that attack, John. Yeah.
Thing was
Jim, is
crazy.
everyone in?
Madam President, everyone's in the meeting from the waiting room.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, let's call the meeting to order. Please call the roll at 6:02.
Newman,
Here.
Camerediner,
here,
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here. All right, a couple things before we go through the agenda. We have Mandy tonight at 7:30. Mayor, she's still attending, right? We're good?
She is on, and will be on at 7:30, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, then let's go through the agenda.
Also, Madam President, Manny said that John Ruck, was also going to be on the call as well.
Perfect.
perfect.
All right. Let's go through the agenda. All right, so we have our bid openings for the agenda. Minutes,
I can take him, Madam President.
and we're diner. Bills, do we have questions on the bills? Bills, do we?
I did not have any this month. I'll take the resolution if that's okay with Tom.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right, next up is the United Veterans Council Memorial Day observance,
I'd like
Which
to
is
take that, Madam
Sunday, May
President.
30th. Dawn?
Yes, please.
Okay. Next up is the resolution for relative to the traffic and safety recommendation.
I'd like to take that one as well.
Any questions on it?
I don't think so. The only thing, Tom, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah, well, thank you for getting it accomplished. I'm sure Neil's gonna be pleased.
Okay. All right, next is, oh, sorry, what was that? Is
I think there's an echo.
that on my end?
I think so.
All right, Next up is the Little League Drive resolution.
Let's take that one, Madam President.
We want to do
Jim?
count,
Or council, I mean, either way, but
yeah,
Council would be great.
Jim,
yeah.
I don't care if Tom wants to take it, he can. It
I'm
doesn't
okay with
matter.
council. Council works.
Hey, Tom,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I mean Bill. I mean, not Bill. Doing two things at once here. Jim,
Yes,
can you reach out to David Stapleton, invite him to an upcoming council meeting?
will do.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anything else on this resolution?
Long time coming.
Yeah, I guess, Mike, can you
Yes.
kind of expand on this? I thought we already did this, but apparently not.
Apparently not. The developer's attorney contacted me indicating that in the title insurance report that he had previously submitted to the city, that there were some paper streets that needed to be abandoned and terminated. That's what this resolution does. And the first resolution authorizing the contract didn't really authorize the mayor to sign the deed and supporting documents. So we're taking care of both of those issues with this resolution.
Okay. All right, next is the,
So are we go, Madam President, are we going council on that one?
yes, yes, council on that.
Thank you.
Okay, then next. The next is the resolution about the paving.
I'd like to take that, Madam President.
For Rotenstrow. Questions on it?
Very close bid on that one.
Are we going to be using CHIPS funding for this again this year?
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right, and then next is approval of LaForge North America at the recommendation of the superintendent.
If I may again, Madam President.
Questions on it? All right, this one, so before we get into this, congratulations to everybody. We had a closing of our LED streetlights. So, and I know we'll talk more about that. But this next resolution is for the seeker. Do we have any questions on it? No? Okay. If council doesn't object, I'd like to sponsor.
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. I think, what's our agenda? 31 pages? Is that what somebody said? 31?
31 pages, that is correct.
So here we begin our bond resolutions. Now, Jim, I think we're gonna read them all for you.
That's all right. Everybody can stick around all night then.
All right. Do we have questions on resolution 9? So basically what this is, just so the community sees, and I don't know, can you share your screen?
Yeah, I can bring it up 1 second.
Perfect. So now, just so the community knows, what we authorize does not necessarily mean that's what the total cost will be. It just cannot exceed this amount. So for resolution 9, it's $700,000 for improvements to our roads and other investments. Council good with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Questions on it?
I just want to make a statement. I know that, and I sent an email regarding this, but I would like to remind folks that we promised the folks on Rogers Court that they would be paved this year. So I'm hoping that we can hold true to that promise.
Mayor, do we have do you know if we have a list of streets?
I'll have a list at the, by the next meeting, but Rogers Court is on that list.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
They have put the knee on his neck, but he will now be a figure that we will take the knees off our necks now, and we give you the praise. Thank you.
Okay, then resolution 10, $130,000 for various sidewalks and concrete walkways to be ADA compliant. Council good on this?
I'll take that, Madam
Yep.
President.
Dave?
That's
Mr.
fine.
Mylan.
Council's fine.
Council,
Whatever you'd like to do.
it doesn't matter. If you want it, Dave,
I'll take it.
okay, Mylum. And
Council,
then, Mayor, can we get a list of those sidewalks from?
Madam President, is number 9 by the council?
Yes,
Thank you.
and number 10 is by Mr. Mylum.
Got it. Thank you.
And then, I don't know if you heard me, but Mayor, can we have a list by our next council meeting of the sidewalks?
I don't know if we'll have a list by the next council meeting. I know that's something that they normally do. They go around in the spring and the summer. But as soon as they have a complete list, I'll get it over to everyone.
Okay. All right, resolution 11. Estimated $200,000 for maintenance and acquisition of vehicles and equipment for the city, for the Department of Public Works.
I'll take that, Madam President. Sean?
Any questions on it?
Is this the new salt truck and
There's the new fantail, there's a pickup truck, it's the 3 trucks that are listed on the capital budget the council agreed to. And then what Joe did is he went back out and got current pricing. So from where it is now from where it was in October when we did the capital budget. And then they added one tire machine because we can't change tires anymore on the new types of rims for the police cars. So
Okay.
the old tire machine will be sold and we're gonna, the new tire machine's in there for like 10,000. So that's part of the bond.
Thank you.
All right. Next, resolution 12, 55,000 for improvements at the fire department. This is the roof, correct?
That would be the roof of the equipment bay.
I would like that one, Madam President.
Mr. Newman? Mr. Newman, questions on that? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, next is the Kohler Street improvements at a maximum of 300,000. Okay, next is.
I'll take that one, Madam President.
Don, we have questions on this?
This is
Yeah, are
for
we
the
doing the
roof, correct?
entire roof on this thing? Or is it just the taller roof or? the lower roof?
Height,
And it seems like a lot for a roof.
it's a flat roof. Flat roofs always cost more.
Yeah.
Well, the fire department's a flat roof also. So I just
fire
got more
department-
to it than that. I mean, I know there's some structural damage that we talked about, but I don't know what it is, obviously. I was just curious if anybody had any more information on this one, because it is a lot of money. Not that I'm necessarily questioning, that part of it. I'm just more curious to know why there's such a dramatic cost difference. That's all.
Yeah, I had the same question when it first came up, but it is a complete roof. And at Kohler Street, where the fire department apparatus roof is a spot repair and in certain sections. So they had several bids on the Kohler Street roof, and that it was actually originally we thought it would be much higher. So I was a little surprised when it came in at that. But I was concerned about why it was 55 and 300, and I was told that the fire department is repairs, spot repairs over the entire apparatus bay.
Any other questions on it? Okay. All right, next is the Historical Society improvements at a cost not to exceed 350,000. Now,
Madam President, do we have who sponsored 13?
Dawn. Now, Bill, this is a DASNY grant, correct?
Yes, there's a DASNY grant for this, and again, if we don't get the grant, if it doesn't materialize, we won't be spending this money, so.
And we were originally ordered this grant in 17 or 18, I think it was.
I'd have to look. I know it's been.
It was
around.
2018.
18, okay.
It was 2018, and the delay was getting information from the Historical Society and engineering plans and things of that nature, so.
Do we know where the monies stand now?
They are set to be approved, but until we get a GDA, nothing's 100% for sure, but I've been assured that everything that Assemblyman Schimminger put in for before he retired, that Assemblyman Conrad would see through.
Okay. If no one objects, I'd like to sponsor that. Any objections?
I have one quick question. The number 250,000 sticks in my head that this is what the DASNY grant was for this. And now it's at 350. Is that due to a cost of materials, or did the grant get increased?
It got increased based on both work that's going to be done at Robert Levi's old place, their new current place, and the old building. So,
Okay. All right,
It's-
thank you for
it-
clearing that up.
yeah, it's gonna be 100% covered by the grant.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, I remember 250 and that's why I
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, that was the original amount.
Thank you.
All right, next is Veterans Memorial Park improvements at a cost not to exceed 150,000. All right, questions on that?
This is the new
Mr.
shelters.
Armstrong? Oh, you're muted.
No question, sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I thought you raised your hand.
Nope, sorry.
Counsel on this? Mr. Mylan?
I'd like to take it, Madam President.
Okay, Mr. Mylan?
Thank you. This is the new shelters and the new
Playground.
walkway, correct?
Correct. And,
Yes.
yeah, and I'll be forming a committee of various veterans that is going to go around now that we're building these two, that will rename all of the shelters in Vets Park after prominent veterans in the city. So
Perfect.
stay
That's a
tuned.
great idea.
Great. Do we have the scope of this project or a drawing of it?
Have a napkin drawing. But yeah, we can get you some. All it is really is we've started work on extending. There's a paper street behind Ed Ringler's old house. We started planning on putting millings down for that and adding additional parking, and then the two shelters with a walk. So, but we'll get those over to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on that? Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. Oh. Resolution 16 is another bond resolution, not to exceed 2.4 million for the lighting capital improvement project. Council on this one?
Council would be great.
I'm sorry, Madam President, who sponsored 16?
Council.
Thank you.
In many cases, I expect the hospitalizations to still increase for a little bit of time because the hospitalization generally comes.
All right, so we're done with the bond resolutions. And Bill, we don't have any other ones coming down the pipeline that you know of, right? This is it?
For first concept. So I wish I had the answer, and we all do, but none of us have.
Bill, you're on mute.
Yeah, the lighting actually we're authorizing, but we're not gonna borrow at this time. We're gonna see what NIPA's financing program is, but because they can't lock it down, the feeling was that our bonding will probably be better. So we're authorizing it now, but we're not gonna borrow until, we're not gonna go to a ban for that until we actually need to. So.
Perfect. All right, all right, then next, is a resolution at the recommendation of Jason, for the contract and design at Kohler Pool for the roof replacement. for, to be made to Clark Patterson Lee.
So this would go in conjunction with the bond resolution to repair it?
Correct.
I'll take that, Madam President.
Mr. Rosenstroh?
Madam President, the way Jason explained it to me was we had to do the bond resolution first and then this resolution after.
We are not, oh, we are bonding this.
Right, it's from the 2021 bond.
Yep, okay.
Council, do we have executive?
I don't,
Mayor, do you have executive?
No, I do not.
Okay. No executive.
I'm sorry, there is one matter for executive.
Okay,
It's litigation matters.
okay. How much time do we need?
Few minutes, nothing
Okay.
long.
Okay. I will make a motion to go into executive session for litigation. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Madam President.
Second by Ms. Camerediner. Mr. Clark, can you please call the roll?
Newman,
Aye.
Camerediner,
Aye.
Rosenstroh,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
Madam President, just give me a moment, just to let everyone know that's in the meeting. We are going to executive. We will have to put everyone into the waiting room and we'll be pausing the recording. Okay, Madam President, at this time, everyone has been moved in from the waiting room into the meeting and we are now recording.
Perfect. All right, let's go around the room. Mr. Newman,
I really don't have anything, Madam President.
thank you. Dawn, Ms. Camerediner?
I just have a couple of things just to let you guys know. Traffic and Safety's meeting Monday, the 26th. So if you guys have any concerns that you haven't gotten to me, please get them to me. The LDC's meeting on Tuesday, the 27th. Meeting with the 3 new board members to go over a few things and possibly bringing on new additional members. I'm sure maybe the mayor will touch on this, but I'll just mention it real quick. The CSX, the mayor and I are meeting with them via Zoom on the 29th. Just some possible signage that could or need to be taken down over on Young Street to help with the incidences that we're having over there. Other than that, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Camerediner. Mr. Rounstraw?
I have a couple things. One, I just wanted to follow up. You know, I brought it up when I was first back on the council in the beginning. There's a company called Hearts and Hands. Their services they provide are for transportation services. Part of it is they recruit volunteers. They and then they dispatch them to help with transportation. It crossed my mind again when we were talking about opening the senior center, which I believe we were hoping for May 1st. I think the mayor had mentioned June 1st would be a more definitive date. But when there was talk about the transportation and volunteers to get people back and forth with that, it just rang a bell and had me revisit it from when we talked about it. Things were stalled a little bit with the COVID, with the pandemic, and just trying to figure out how to navigate that with their volunteers. It seems that they're back into services. They're in need of people and looking for people in the north towns. I think they've done some work with some other areas. All that being said, I have a meeting set up with the director on Friday. I'm gonna have breakfast with him and talk to him. And once I work out those details, I was kind of hoping I could bring him in to talk more to the council with your permission, once I get that a definite date with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else? One other thing I wanted to bring up, and just for two reasons. It was brought up with the meeting with the mayor last week with Dave and I, and with the mayor's office with Mr. Gilbert. And I think I saw one of the interested parties online. Smoke on the Water, the owners had some ideas of redeveloping that area, maybe going in a different direction. My understanding is that they're interested in, now that the law has changed, whereas before it had to go up to RFP, is an interest in buying that property in front of their building that came apart from the street. I think they might have some great ideas of how to develop that, where it'll fit in with what the vision is for the corridor there for Young Street. I'm not sure of the exact numbers. Some numbers were brought up in the 20 to 25,000 range, that they could buy that property with a permanent easement so we could access the utilities. So I guess to start that conversation, since we did change that this year, just a brief conversation with Dave while he was there. I think I mentioned it to Dawn, and just bringing it up to everybody else. If that's something you guys would consider and we could move forward on, I think they might, it might work in with the area, and it'd be great to see that little piece of property active and on the tax rolls and doing something again. So just throwing it out to you guys, what your thoughts are on that.
Madam President, can I speak on that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So Sean, I've been thinking about it a little bit. I don't have an issue with turning that section over. However, to do justice to our residents, we would have to get the assessed value on that particular property. And then I feel that we could move forward. As long as we do our due diligence, we're not giving a piece of property away. The other thing that came up is a rezoning, because it's currently zoned for a restaurant. So when it comes to changing it, if they're getting away from the food industry, we probably have to change the zoning on that as well.
Well, what's the intent of what do they intend on doing with that area?
If Mr. Reichert's online, would you mind him speaking to it a little bit?
Certainly. Can you hear me?
If it's okay with Jenna and the council.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
So yeah, we are looking at doing multifamily residential. So our plan is for condo style apartments. They would be 2-bed, 1.5 bath, each with their own garage and boat dock out back, and then a small commercial part on the end of the building facing the intersection, like towards the Walgreens side. So we're not actually looking to develop on the parcel that we're looking to acquire from you guys. The new building would essentially replace the existing building that's there and expand a little further towards Delaware. So the parking lot would still remain as it is. And obviously, like you said, the easement would still be in place for access to the utilities. But we're looking, the reason that we even need to acquire it is based on the current city code's building lot calculation. So from my understanding with my conversations with the building inspector, each apartment, I'm sorry, the first apartment requires 6,500 square feet of lot size. And then any subsequent apartment after that is an additional 2,500. So to do the size building that we need, or that we want to do, we need 11,000 square feet, and we only have 8,000 square feet because that parking lot's not included in our calculation. If we acquire it and it can be included in our calculation, then we have the sufficient lot size for that size building. And I can
Mark,
clarify anything if that doesn't make sense.
Mark, do you have drawings that you could supply to the council?
I have drawings for a building that we are doing in Youngstown that are very similar in nature. They haven't been specifically applied to this parcel because this whole thing kind of got rolling relatively recently. But we're about ready to break ground on the property in Youngstown, and we plan to use those drawings over here with having them be retrofitted for the Tonawanda area.
Okay, so, and have you submitted a formal proposal to purchase that area?
No, because I wasn't sure what the best course of action was. When we were having the conversation, I wasn't even sure if the purchase was the most appropriate or if we kept it the same, because the intent of the parking lot is still to remain the parking lot. So we're not really changing the intent. So I didn't know if we even needed to purchase it or if there was some way that we could have the building inspector allow the square footage to be taken into consideration for approving the plans.
Okay, perfect. So what I would like to do, if you can email us just, kind of what you intend to do. And then can we invite you to our next council meeting on May 4th? And we can go over this more in depth. So,
Certainly. What's the best email?
so if you can email it to the city clerk and he will forward it to the council.
Okie dokie.
And Jim's email is it cityclerk@?
cityclerk@tonawandacity.com. Tonawanda Clerk's one word and Tonawanda City is one word.
Okay.
And then we'll work with you on a time to meet with us, but let's target 6:15 on May 4th.
Okay.
And then it'll give the
Other
council,
documentation that I can provide during
What's-
that meet?
what's that?
Any other documentation that you'd like me to provide during that meeting?
And then a proposal, what you want to do with that city property.
Okay.
And if we can have that beforehand so that the council can review it and prepare any questions ahead of time, it'll be
Sure.
helpful.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Reichert, for speaking of this. It sounds like it could be a great addition to our city. Jen, I don't know the procedure. Should one of us reach out to the city assessor? I mean, just to kind of answer those questions that Don brought up is in regards to the value and a fair price on that.
Yeah, let's have that, before the 5-4 meeting. So Dawn, you're the liaison for land sales.
Yeah.
So if you just want to reach
As
out,
soon as I get that information, what I'll do is I'll reach out to Mr. Morano and speak with him.
perfect.
That way he'll get an idea of what we're looking to do there too.
The only other thing to mention as far as value of that land goes,
Mhm.
obviously, when we acquired the lease in the first place, it was a city street and an island. And we had a pretty significant investment to get it to where it's at now. So we're already into that property, I think, for upwards of 40,000. So just take that into consideration as far as land value goes for what we would be purchasing it for.
All right, thank you, Mark. We'll be in touch and we'll finalize, that meeting on May 4th.
Great, thank you very much.
Anything else, Mr. Rounstrau?
I think that kind of covered everything I wanted to cover. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Milam?
Thanks. I don't really have too much. I just wanted to thank the small but very enthusiastic group that showed up at the Legion Wall on Saturday afternoon. Spent, I don't know, a little more than an hour or so weeding and turning the soil over, getting it ready for planting and mulching. Thank you we raised close to $600 between donations and product. So it was really a nice thing to have happen. We are going to be up there again this Saturday, approximately 1 o'clock. We're not going to be planting yet. I'm glad we didn't plant last Saturday, knowing what's happening tomorrow with the snow. But we're going to wait another couple weeks to plant. But this weekend we'll be up there about 1:30 or so, moving the mulch around and things like that. So if anybody would like to join, stop on by. That's really about it other than register for soccer. We're closing soccer registration next week. So if anybody's interested in playing or knows of anybody or coaches or referees or anything like that, please get with us. We're not going to be playing at the schools this year. We're going to be playing at Ives Pond and East Niagara Street due to all the construction that's going on at the elementary buildings. So a little bit of a change of venue for us, but still it'll be a really great program. That's about it.
Perfect. I have a couple things. Bill, there you are. So Bill, I have a question for you regarding the 1.62 million that the city is scheduled to receive from the federal government. You know when we can expect that? Do you have an update on that?
We've gotten no updates. The last time I spoke to Congressman Hingen's office, he said hopefully in the next, between now and the end of May. I would imagine as soon as I hear anything, we'll notify the council.
Okay. And will this be paid in 2 installments and we have to use it within 2 years?
That's what it seems to be from what we've received from Senator Schumer. But again, until we actually get the funds and or the final requirements, I don't really know. My understanding is it's two separate payments over 2 years with the tourism sewer relining, things like that. They gave in COVID expense reimbursement. So we'll see what the final advisory comes back at, and I'm sure the mayor will be involved in that and is probably talking to people now. But as soon as we actually get the hard rules, I'll make sure those get passed along also.
Perfect. And then once you get the final letter that we've been awarded this, the council and mayor can work together on how we spend the money.
Yeah, it would be right. It wouldn't be my call, right?
And then we've delineated our COVID expenses, correct?
We have, we know, again, most of our COVID expenses, and we didn't have that many. Yeah, this is where it gets, so we have hard COVID expenses, purchase of masks, equipment like that. Then we have the additional expense of what the governor's rules were, is who had to stay home, what we had to do for payroll. So we have that marked out. And then the third portion would be, what did we lose in fines? What did we lose in it turns out we didn't lose anything in state aid, and sales tax was close, but we definitely went down in fines. So if and when we get the final breakdown, I'm sure we can all get together and discuss what our actual COVID hits were with fines, with rec fees. We lost an awful lot of rec fees last year. We actually went backwards because we had to return a lot of funds that we received in prior years. So we'll have that. We'll know what we missed in the budget because of COVID, and then we can sit down with the mayor and council and figure out what's COVID, what's the rest. So, but again, there's no guarantee. In this state, there's never a guarantee. Well, until I see the
Right.
money, I don't know.
Right. Okay, perfect. Mayor, do you want to give an update on the LED streetlights?
Yeah, so today we closed, and then we had a follow-up meeting with NIPA and Wendell, and the gateways are expected to be shipped out tomorrow. We're slated for a tentative date of install for the gateways next Tuesday, and then we're just awaiting either total or partial shipment on the nodes to be able to start the actual construction, taking off the old Cobra heads, installing the new ones with the new lights and the nodes. In the meantime, because we own them, we put down, because National Grid is still going to get phone calls if somebody plows into a telephone pole or whatever. We gave them a number of our police dispatch to contact, because that's staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we will either replace that street light in-house, or NIPA is going to get us over an agreement to look at as far as having them do the replacement. So we'll do a cost benefit analysis of them replacing it versus us replacing it in the meantime until all of the lights and the nodes are installed. So so still a lot of work to do, but we expect to be done with the project somewhere towards the end of the year.
Perfect. And do you have anything else?
Yeah, so we received 2 letters of intent, one for 2 acres, one for 3 acres for Spalding. I sent those over to Mike and Brittany to look over as far as making sure they fit into the overlay district for Spalding. If they do, then our next step would be is to reach out to Milton Cat to see if they're going to exercise their right of first refusal. I'm going to take a guess at no, they're probably not going to exercise it for those 2 small parcels, but you never know. And we also have interest from another company, and they're aware of the 2 letters of interest, and they're interested in the remaining property, along with another property in another municipality, as far as expanding their business. So hopefully, maybe by summer, all the parcels up there will be spoken for, and which will be a good thing. And finally, they're going to start assembling all of the equipment and bricks and things like that for the Young Street project next week. So you'll notice some fencing being put up and stuff like that in anticipation of that project starting. And that project is still slated to be completed late spring, early summer next year. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Anything else for around the room?
Madam President,
Mr. Newman?
the chief responded back to me because I sent him a message regarding his roof on the truck bay. He's under the impression that it is a replacement, not a repair, just for the record. So we're gonna have to look into this, make sure there's nothing off the rails here based on the cost difference. That's all.
Okay. What does the resolution, what's the bond resolution say?
The capital budget had it at 55. That's what we all discussed last year during October.
Correct.
I don't know what the scope was or what the theory was. I'm assuming that we had someone come up with a number. So that was when I asked the city engineer, he said that's because it's patching significant areas, but not the entire truck base. So I'll talk to Jason tomorrow.
It says in the bond resolution that it's primarily roof reconstruction. So I don't know if I hear reconstruction, I hear rebuild, so.
That's what I would determine it as too, but you never know. So I just wanted to bring that up because he did confirm, and that's what I heard, that it was pretty much a new roof. Now, I don't think there's structural issues. I think it's just a new flat lay on the thing. And that could be the difference. And there's no rooftop units on their building versus like Kohler Pool has. They have a rooftop. So, there are those variables that do come into play. I just want everybody to be aware that that's what was confirmed as of right now.
Yeah, that is a major difference in price, so that's definitely a good issue.
All right, anything else for around the room? All right. Mr. Clerk, we'll call the meeting of the Common Council to order at 7:06. Can you please call the roll?
Newman,
Here.
Cameron Danner,
Here.
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here, if we can all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
to the flag
States
of
of
the United States of America and to the republic
Which stands one nation,
one nation,
under God,
Under God.
indivisible, with
with
liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Our prayer tonight is courtesy of William Miles, our associate chaplain. Tonight, we think about the suffering endured by those who have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, those who were exposed to COVID-19 and the uncertainty it brings. We think about those who have suffered from taking care of our COVID patients, the frontline workers, the first responders, and those who have quarantined to avoid this dreaded disease. We also think about the families who have lost loved ones and those who have lost their jobs. Lord God, more than ever, we need you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we turn our attention to you as we begin our council meeting. We ask for your presence, your guidance, your love, and your grace. Bless Council President Jenna Cook as she leads this meeting. Bless each council member as they represent the people of our good city. Bless the mayor with wisdom as he leads the city we love in the place that we call home. As always, we ask your protecting hand upon our fire and police departments. Be with our beloved Chief Stewart as he recovers from knee surgery. Give strength to the department heads who continue to provide for the quality of life that we have here in Tonawanda. Thank you, Lord, for your continued protecting hand during this pandemic. We ask that you continue to bless our city and our residents. Relieve the suffering of those affected with the knowledge that we may be nearing a sense of normalcy soon. We turn to you for guidance and direction as this council deliberates its agenda based on what is right for all of Tonawanda. We remember your servant, Father Mike from St. Francis Church, who touched the lives and brought your message to many of our residents here in Tonawanda. If we can pause for a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. Well done, good and faithful servant. May he rest in eternal peace. We ask all of these blessings in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
All right, bid openings are as per our agenda. Communications from city officials and correspondence have been ordered and filed. We are not going into executive session. And at this time, we'll take comments by the public on the resolutions. There is a spot where you can raise your hand. I ask that you do so now, and our clerk will call on you. Any comments from the public on the resolutions? Mr. Clerk, do you have any residents that wish to address the council on the resolutions?
Madam President, at this time, I do not show any comments by the public.
All right. Once, twice, hearing none. Let's roll.
Okay. Resolution number 1 by Councilmember Camerediner.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Mylum.
Resolve that the common council minutes from April 6, 2021 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 2 by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Newman.
Resolve that the bills be allowed as audited.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 3 by Councilmember Cameron Danner.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Mylum.
Resolved that permission is granted to the Tonawanda's United Veterans Council to close the Renaissance Bridge on Sunday, May 30th, 2021, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. for the annual Memorial Day observance.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 4 by Councilmember Cameron Danner.
Do we
I'll
have a
second that,
second?
Madam President.
I couldn't even finish it. You were like right on there. Second by Mr. Newman.
Whereas the title of this resolution ordinance has been published at least on April 10th, 2021 in accordance with section 2.047 of the city charter. Now therefore be resolved that chapter 62 entitled Traffic and Vehicles, Article 5, Traffic Schedules, Division 2, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 62-193, Schedule 15, No Standing Areas, shall be amended as following. Canton Street on the north side from Delaware Street to a point 288 feet east thereof. And be it resolved that the other sections of this said ordinance shall remain unchanged and in full force and effect. And be it further resolved that the above mentioned amendments shall take effect upon the publication of its title in the official newspaper of the city of Tonawanda.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman.
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 5 by the council, seconded by the council. Whereas the city of Tonawanda
Madam
adopted.
President, can I make an,
Mr. Mylum?
yes, can I say, make a recommendation before we go to the reading of this?
Do we have a motion by Councilmember Mylum to waive the reading on Resolution 5? Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Rautenstrau. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on waiving of the reading.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Comments or questions? Comment, Mr. Clerk, can you please reach out to David Stapleton from David Homes and invite him to an upcoming council meeting?
Yes, Madam President, I will reach out to Mr. Stapleton and invite him.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 6 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Second by Ms. Camerediner.
Resolved that the recommendation of the Superintendent of Public Works, the 2021 paving equipment and operator rental bid be awarded to Robinson Paving, Inc. per their submitted bid on April 6, 2021 of $613 per hour.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Camerediner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 7 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll take that one as well, Madam President.
Second by Ms. Camerediner.
Resolved that at the recommendation of the Superintendent of Public Works, the 2021 road building materials bid be awarded to Lafarge North America, Inc. as per their submitted bid on April 6, 2021.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Camerediner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 8 by Council President Cook.
Do we have a second?
Second, Madam President.
Second by Ms. Camerediner.
Whereas the Title 6 of the New York State Code of Rules and Regulations, Part 16, 617.5, under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, provides that a certain actions identified in subdivision C of that section are not subject to environmental review under the Environmental Conservation Law. Now therefore it be resolved that the City of Tonawanda hereby determine that the proposed LED lighting project is a type 2 action in accordance with 6 NYCRR Part 617.5 C1 and is therefore not subject to further review under 6 NYCRR Part 617.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Camerediner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. Mr. Clerk, I'd like to make a motion to waive the readings of resolutions 8 through 16.
9.
9 through
Aye.
16.
Oh,
9
9
through
through 16. Yeah, 9 through 16.
I'll second that, Madam President.
Seconded by
Yeah,
Mr. New.
If I may, if, while we're giving them a break here from reading them all, but if the council president or the clerk could give a brief summary as to each one of the amount, what it's for, and that it's a bond, I think that'd be helpful to the public.
Oh,
A little
absolutely.
Cliff Notes version.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to waive the reading of resolution 9 through 16. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Camerediner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Okay,
Okay, resolution number 9 is by the council, seconded by the council.
comment. So this resolution, which we see on our screen as well. And Jim, just make sure you scroll down as we get to each resolution like you always do.
Yep.
So this resolution is a bond resolution which authorizes the spend not to exceed $700,000 for various roads and improvements within the city. By the next meeting, the mayor will share with us the list of those roads. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Okay, resolution number 10 by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, Madam President.
Seconded by Mr. Newman. Comment, this resolution is another bond resolution authorizing the spend not to exceed $130,000 for various sidewalks in the city, as well as ADA compliant walkways. Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 11 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Madam President.
Second by Ms. Camerediner. Comments. This resolution is also a bond resolution authorizing the spend not to exceed $200,000 for various equipment and maintenance vehicles with the Department of Public Works. This is from the capital improvement, and it includes purchase and maintenance of 3 trucks. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 12 by Councilmember Newman.
Do we have a second?
I'd like to second, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Rounstrau. Comments? This is another bond resolution. And this authorizes the spend not to exceed $55,000 for roof reconstruction at the fire department headquarters. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 13 by Councilmember Cameron.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Madam President.
Seconded by Mr. Rounstrau. Do we have a second? Okay, Mr. Rounstrau. Okay, comments. This is another bond resolution authorizing the spend not to exceed $300,000 for a roof replacement at the Kohler Street building. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 14 by Council President Cook.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Seconded by Mrs. Camerediner. Comments, this is another bond resolution authorizing the spend not to exceed $350,000 on various improvements to the Historical Society buildings. I just also want to add that this is part of a DASNY grant that the city was awarded back in 2018. Any other comments?
And we're certain that this cost will be completely covered by DASNY, correct?
That's the award. We're just waiting for the official document.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 15 by Councilmember Mylum.
I would like to second this. Comment. This is also a bond resolution authorizing the spend not to exceed $150,000. And this is for capital improvement projects at Veterans Park to include 2 shelters. This is also part of a grant that the city has received. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Declare the resolution
Aye.
adopted.
Resolution number 16 by the council, seconded by the council.
Comment. This is another bond resolution and not to exceed the spend of 2.4 million. And this authorizes the lighting capital improvements. And I'm actually going to waive, and I'd like our treasurer to also add to it. And if you can just repeat what you said during our informal relative to this resolution. Defer to you.
Strelly, you want me to talk about what the savings are going to be here, or?
Just exactly what we talked about during the informal regards to this resolution. Yes.
I'll see what I remember. The way the bond payments, we calculated out over a 10-year repayment schedule. We're gonna save the pole rental, which will pay off the bonds and also reduce our expenses over the course of the year with our energy savings and with and the pole rental will be with the course, the 10-year repayment will have some leftover funds that will go back toward the general budget. So, and then this is strictly a holding authorization at the end of, so at the end of the project, we're going to sit down with NYPA and find out what their financing package is. And this authorization will just give us the opportunity to seek bonding ourselves if we have a better rate.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. Any other comments or questions?
Just really quickly, Madam President,
Mr. Milo?
just just for the good of the order and for the residents listening. When the treasurer's talking about pole rental, the city actually pays or paid National Grid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for renting the poles that the streetlights are on. And
Right.
with this purchase, basically what we're going to be looking at is purchasing the poles outright, which when you really look at the money, we've probably done that 10 times over with the pole rental funds. But then instead of paying for the pole rentals, we'll be taking that money and putting it towards paying off this bond. And it's going to be a significant savings over the course of this time. So even though it looks like $2.4 million is being spent, it is, but it would have all been spent renting light poles. And this just basically turns this over to the city and allows us to have a little bit more control and save the residents a substantial sum of money over the time of this bond.
Thank you, Mr. Mile. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 17 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
I'll
Second
take
by
it,
Ms. Cameron Danner.
Madam President.
Mr. Mylum?
Resolve that the recommendation of the city engineer, Jason J. Lamonaco, that award of the contract for the design and bidding phase services for the Kohler Pool roof replacement be made to Clark Patterson Lee at a cost not to exceed $25,000. Funding fiscal impact, $25,000 will come from the 2021 bond.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Newman,
Aye.
Cameron Danner,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. If you wish to address the council, there is a spot where you can raise your hand. Please do so at this time. Mr. Clerk, do you see any residents that wish to address the council?
Madam President, at this time, I do not see any comments by the public.
Okay. Once, twice. Okay, hearing none. We're gonna switch things up a little bit. We'll start with Mr. Rounstrau.
Start with me. Thank you, Madam President. I think I covered most of what I wanted to and around the room, but just a couple notes from the meeting. I just want to say, it's great to see everything come to fruition with David Holmes. That's something that started, that was one of the reasons why I was first involved with this and ran for council, was to see some development in that area. It's been a long process, and it's been great to see David Holmes work with the residents in that area, kind of make it compatible and make sure their concerns were granted. So I appreciate that. And just in those lines, I think the development that we've been seeing, it has been phenomenal. Mr. Reichert, Smoke on the Water, was talking about something that he's going to want to do over at that location. The mayor spoke of further investments in Spalding with letters of interest. I think these are great things, great signs to see what's coming in our city. It's great to see the interest in the development in here, along with everything else that's gone along the way. I just personally want to say thanks to the investors that are investing into our city. It's great to see it. And just to comment too, he spoke to the money that we're getting on the federal side. I know Bill kind of said back that it's to the decision of the council once he gets the information, and the mayor. I do kind of want to throw it back at the treasurer too. He's kind of got the finger on the pulse of what's affecting our city, what the budget entails, where we hit our hits last year. I just want to kind of come back, and I'd love to hear some commentary and some suggestions by the treasurer as well as to where he might think some of this money might help as we move forward. I know he's been working with a committee for the budget and kind of looking at some long-term plans and some community input. And I think that it's, back when we had Mr. Hogenkamp, and he always had suggestions and commentary on it. And I think, it's important to listen to our treasurer when it comes down to these finances. I think he got a great background and great education in regards to finance. And I think definitely worth hearing. So, I just want to welcome him into that conversation and hope he has some things for us as well. Beyond that, that's all I really have to comment on. And other than, to Father Mike and St. Francis, I just want to say he was a great man, very welcoming of my family, and he is somebody that will be missed. And just to end it on that, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rellenstrow. Ms. Camerediner?
Thank you, Madam President. I too want to say, kind of piggyback a little bit on what Sean was saying. It's nice to see all the construction going on in the city, putting that back onto the tax rolls, helping alleviate some of the tax burden that our residents currently are seeing. I've been in the city for 28 years, 29 years, and it's nice to see that a city that I call home is finally coming to maybe what I prefer to see moving into the future. And I just want to continue to see that grow. And I'm glad that I work with such great people that I currently work with and our departments that have also taken on that big role as well. That's all I have, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Camerediner. Mr. Mylum?
That was surprising. I thought you were going all the way down to number 1 and coming back. I thought you were going to go to Tom.
I flipped a coin and you were next. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, thank you. I just very quickly want to readdress again what's going on at the schools. I had another couple of questions coming tonight. And I guess there's just get the word out as many times as possible. So at the end of this school year, Fletcher is closing. They're going to take the kids that are in 4th grade now, which will be 5th grade next year, and put them at the middle school. The 4th graders that are incoming are going to stay on the grounds of either Mullen or Riverview, whichever they're at right now. And the construction you're seeing at Mullen and Riverview is for the temporary classrooms that are going to be placed on the grounds of those schools. So I'm not positive on what they're digging for, but if I'm putting a guess in, it's going to be, stability, probably bathrooms, heating, cooling, things like that. Because they're called temporary or mobile classrooms. They're really pretty slick looking. So that's going to happen for the full next school year, so 21-22, with the hope that Fletcher will reopen as the one elementary campus in the city of Tonawanda, which it'll be very nice. It's going to be quite large. If you haven't seen the renderings, stop in at the board office and check them out. They're also at every school. It's going to be a pretty amazing campus. And then, what the district decides to do with those schools after they're closed is still up in the air. But that's what the construction is. That's why there's a lot of vehicles and, moving parts going on. But what you're going to see is a really nice school campus between middle school, high school buildings. Without anything else, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mr. Newman?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Dave, for acknowledging that I'm number 1. I appreciate that. But besides that, I just want to, say the same pretty much everybody else is saying. It's good to see the construction. We have a lot of it going on in our city right now. It's going to, increase our tax base, which is going to be helpful to the current residents for sure. And it's good to see some activity for David Holmes on this finally as well. And that's really about it. Other than I would recommend that people just stay off the streets tonight. Don't park on the roads. Let DPW do what they need to do, by morning or, it's going to be wet and heavy. So that's all I have, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. Just like to echo everybody else's thoughts on David Holmes. Back in 2007, when I asked Assemblyman Schimminger and then State Senator Mark Capola for monies for the wetland delineation and the archaeological study for that property. Little did I know that 14 years later, we would be looking at a closing, but I'm glad it's happened in my lifetime. And had initial discussions with David Holmes about a groundbreaking happening sometime in the late spring, early summer. So as soon as I get more information on that, I'll share that with everyone. Many thanks to all of the city officials, Wendell, NYPA, even National Grid on the purchasing of the streetlights. As Councilman Milam said, this is going to be a significant savings moving forward. And, it really opens the door for the city to be able to possibly offer Wi-Fi in the city or partner with another group to offer 5G to where the city would benefit from those revenues instead of National Grid. So exciting project for sure. Young Street, they'll be assembling their construction equipment and materials starting next week. So they'll be fencing off the area. That's the $2.5 million Empire State Development Grant. Looking forward to seeing that completed sometime in the late spring, early summer. And last, I'd like to thank Father Mike for his years of devotion spiritually to the residents of our city. Wonderful man, love talking to him. The few times a year that I did, get to see him, and his family are in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been said before, one of the things about going last is unfortunately, everything has been said, but the LED street lights is great news for our community as we enter into the next phase of this project. My hat's off to all of those who played a hand in this. And certainly this was a total team effort, from elected officials to our appointed officials, to our city attorney and our deputy city attorney, and all of our partners who made this happen. Thanks to you. And it's also great to see that we're one of the leading communities in Erie County to move forward with NYPA. Us in the town, we're kind of neck and neck there, but it's great for the both of us to finally see this phase come to order here. You're going to see some construction as we're on the subject of construction. The Boys and Girls Club is going to be breaking ground relatively soon on a basketball court in a sports complex at the Newman Club. This is certainly an exciting investment that the club is making, and it will be done in a couple phases, so look forward to that. But it will certainly be great to see that project move forward. I forgot to mention this during our informal, but I would like the council to consider a resolution at our next meeting regarding the proposal that we received to upgrade our IT infrastructure. And the proposal that we received was $5,000 and change. I think this is long overdue, and I'd like to put that to close. So if we can consider putting that resolution forward, that would be great. And, Father Mike, he married my sister and brother-in-law. He was an integral part to so many in our community. I just ask that everyone keeps in their thoughts and prayers the St. Francis Parish in our community. It's a true testament to one's life to see the outpouring of love and support from all over. And Father Mike passed away last week. And, as everybody said, he was extremely pivotal in our community, and he will be deeply missed. And will be adjourning in his memory this evening. But before we do adjourn, we do have some more business, and that is unfortunately a hard segue to go into, but Jim, if you can please unmute Mandy Loff.
Mandy is already unmuted.
Perfect.
And then John Ruck also just need to unmute yourself, John.
Okay. So,
Sorry,
Maybe-
Jim, I kept doing that to you before. I know how this works.
Yeah, you're good. You're good now. No problem, John.
all right, Mandy, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I know we have a couple things we want to talk about. Dawn, if you also want to unmute as well. I think the first thing we want to talk about is Kohler Pool, and then we will segue into the trees.
Okay. Do you guys have anything specific, or do you just want to want me to give you kind of an overview of what we're looking to do? And
I believe the expectation from the council was that there was a plan regarding the opening of Kohler Pool, and I don't know if the council was satisfied on what we received, so I'm going to defer to everybody else, but I think what we're looking for is a more concrete plan based on the COVID restrictions. When we intend on opening the pool, what the cost will be to opening the pool. And granted, I understand it's a fluid situation, and what we talk about today may not be what the regulations are tomorrow, but at least let's have the discussion and know that, yes, of course, it's subject to change.
yes,
Dawn,
so
do you have
obviously,
any-
Correct. So Mandy, real quick too, my whole thing, not only with Kohler, yes, you did send us your financial part of it. However, I think as a group, we were looking for more of a plan put in place, just like Jonna had just stated in regards to Kohler, but we got to do the same thing for the seniors. At first we were told May 1st, now I'm hearing today, possibly June 1st. Do you have anything in mind? Does Kelly have anything in mind that she can put together to show us as a council that she's working for to open these safely?
well, I mean, let me start with the pool. So obviously, we're going to follow all state mandates. They actually haven't, we've been in touch with the Department of Health kind of constantly through this. We have a pool safety plan that's due every year and updated, but they actually haven't updated their COVID protocol since June of last year. So nothing's really changed since last year. So we're kind of following that, but like I said, we've been in weekly communication with them just to see if there's any additional upgrades. So we know what we have to do to open the pool. As far as, there's some tweaks that we're gonna possibly want to make, but obviously we have to, allow for social distancing. We have to promote that people aren't coming to work or aren't attending our facilities or programs when they're sick. There has to be masks worn except for people that are actually in the pool and anyone under 2 years of age. We have to provide obviously bathrooms with soap. There has to be disinfectant. You go through the health question protocol with people, even if it's just on a board, you say yes or no type thing. Are you going to answer yes to any of the questions? So we know all of those things. It's kind of, we're familiar with it because it's what we do, and with our own buildings every day and the things we have to have available. So we are ready and hopeful to be able to open. There's certain things we're putting into place, and like I said, kind of drawing from the Department of Health, seeing what they're doing, but we're probably going to have one entrance and one exit to the pool. We may close off the actual locker rooms and just have the bathrooms available just so it's less cleaning. These are all things that other municipalities have done that opened their pools last year. We will probably, obviously, I believe it's at a 50% the amount of patrons that you can have. So what we're probably going to do is limit it to residents only, at least to start, and if there's room for additional, we'll go from there, but right now we're probably looking at just offering this to our residents this year. So, like I said, we're very familiar with the protocol and what things need to be in place. We haven't actually, I haven't made any purchases or anything as far as, you know, temperature scanners or anything like that because I don't have the budget currently. So we're waiting for your guys' approval for the pool to be open so that we can move forward with those things.
Okay, so quick question then. Can you have a procedure put together for us as a council so we have something to look at? I mean, I know when the senior committee met, you know, they did a fantastic job of putting their plan together and presenting it to us. Is this something that you and Kelly can possibly work on and get us something in writing for a procedure so we can follow that? And as far as a temperature check, I'm assuming you guys are going to do the same thing at the senior center.
Correct.
Okay. And do you have a cost on any of that that equipment that's going to be needed?
That equipment is it's not expensive. Most of those things, like we have a plug-in one, touchless one that people just walk up to. You stand a couple inches away or whatever. They're I want to say they're about $100. So those are things we're going to need. I do have a few sanitizer dispensers that have already been installed in certain buildings and certain places. So like I said, we're familiar with it. It's what we're all doing in the buildings now. So I can put the plan in writing if you need it to be, but we're following all the CDC and the New York State guidelines as it is in our facilities already, and plan on obviously having to do the same for any facilities that are going to open in the future.
I think that was the ask a few meetings ago when we had asked for a plan in writing regarding the opening of Kohler Pool. I think that everything that you delineated was what I think we were hoping to see in writing weeks ago, so we can evaluate the cost and authorize the spend on that.
Everything should be able to be covered in my budget. So along with, this conversation of the pool, in order to open that, I would need the contingency budget that was, or all the money that was put into contingency under the pool line would need to be reinstated in order for us to go forward. I don't think anything's really going to go above and beyond that actual budget.
But I think she's also making the point that, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The contingency lines have been repurposed in a couple of cases. And you referenced the amount that was put in there for the pool, but I don't know that all of that was committed. The contingency amount seemed to have gone into one lump sum without being itemized. I mean, is that enough? Is it enough? Less the amount that's been taken out to be repurposed for some other things is kind of where we're getting at. Or do we need to increase more, or can we get away with less? When you talk about bringing in temperature taking equipment or any other supplies that we need to accommodate for cleaning and stuff like that, are we within budget with what's left? Or are you going to be able to do it within budget with what was originally put in there? Is kind
I
of
have
what we're
no
getting at
idea what's
differentiation.
left. I guess
Bill?
I don't know what is actually left. My understanding was, it was specific to my lines were taken out, and that those are the things. I mean, that's the budget I proposed because that's what I need to open. And I do feel like I absolutely can safely, following all protocol, do those things within the proposed budget that I had last fall.
So let me ask you how, I've seen a few flyers, Mandy, coming out for softball leagues that are coming into place, correct?
Correct.
Different events that you guys are putting together. So I'm assuming you're still going to follow a protocol for those as well, correct? They're going to have to take a COVID test, a temperature check, something, right? I mean, we're just opening up this and leaving Kohler Pool.
I don't know I don't understand what you mean, opening this and leaving the pool.
Well, you're having all of these different activities come together now, right?
So
Meanwhile,
right
Kohler
now we
Pool-
have girls softball and outside thing, going to be starting in June. We have adult softball leagues. These are all things that happened in most other municipalities except for ours last year. We do have a very limited craft night coming up with, I think it's limited to 12 or 15 people is what we can safely space out, allowing for social distancing. So yeah, every protocol is to be followed. Our outdoor games, no, they do not need to be temperature checked for softball or whatever. There's different things that go into depending on the activity.
So how are they going to handle, where are they going to take these children for craft night? Is it going to be at Kohler?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So Mandy, when can the council expect the written procedure for opening a Kohler?
I mean, I guess I can get it to you by the end of the week. Again, we're just, it's a blanket thing like everyone's following from New York State mandates or whatever. So if I can, print a lot of those things out for you, because that's basically what we're following for our facilities and our programs.
Mr. Treasurer, do you know what the balance is on our contingency line? You're on mute.
I'll pull that together. I mean, the only thing that got cut from the budget that got moved to the contingency line was just the lifeguard salaries. So everything else is there, all the equipment lines, all the chemical lines.
There was 3 things actually cut, I believe. It was salaries, it was uniform, which I need to have uniforms for my staff. And there was one more thing. I think it wasn't equipment was in the other line. Maybe office, it was office, because the software that we have, there was a few $1,000s cut from that as well that I need in order to pay for the software that was newly purchased last year.
The MyRec software?
Yes.
All right, and I was assuming that was under the rec department, but, all right, well, I mean, I guess at that point, I'd ask that you calculate what hours, what the pool will be open, what you need for lifeguards, if we can only have so many people. If it changes your staffing requirements, it should all fit.
So I guess, let me speak to that a little bit, because it is so late in the year. We're gonna do everything we can. This is something that we really want to happen for our residents. But we've kind of been talking about this the last couple of months, and we are kind of past the point of the ability for a lot of these people to get their certifications. I've been in talks with people from my professional society, so we're going to try and together put something together by possibly renting out the aquatic center and providing the ability for people to get certified at this point. But everybody is having a very difficult time hiring any staff, lifeguards especially. So I want to kind of put that out there. Some of my colleagues are now offering, they have raised their salaries, they have offered signing bonuses, and it's just a really difficult time right now as far as hiring. So we're going to do everything we can, but you may see us having to make some changes as far as scheduling, depending on the staff we have. We may have to delay the opening of the pool just to get staff certified. Like I said, most of those things happen on all those school vacations that have now kind of come and gone. So if we can find people that are interested in the job, we have to find a way of certifying them. So we may have to delay the opening for a week just to get people qualified for the job. Depending on how many certified qualified staff we get in the end, we may have to limit hours and things like that. But I can't say how that's going to be going forward, but we're doing everything. We're looking into everything now and trying to find those opportunities for them, provide those opportunities for them so that we can open full force. But it hasn't been easy. I know for my colleagues so far that have been trying for, usually staffing starts in January and February. So I know they've been, it's been tough out there for all of them. It's going to be a little tougher for us starting kind of behind the gun so late, but we're going to do everything we can to bring this to fruition for our residents.
Just to piggyback on what Mandy said, I did give her the okay today to possibly look at non-city residents to hire for lifeguards, as a way of possibly sharing, with other area municipalities with their lifeguards. So, we're going to try to do everything we can to make sure the pool is fully staffed and available for use.
Is one other question too that just crossed my mind with the rest of the bond resolutions. That construction, the roof construction, is that something that would be happening this year? And would that have any effect on or cause any limitations on the use of the pool?
My understanding, I was there with Clark Patterson, Lee, and Jason, is that it would, by the time all this gets started, it'll probably be fall anyways. And it shouldn't shut down the building for anything. So if we still wanted to have, the few programs that we actually have at the pool in the fall, we could still have that. It shouldn't interfere with, the building shouldn't have to be shut down.
Okay, and just the scope of the repairs that are needed, there's nothing within that would be a safety concern or anything with opening the pool and moving forward with anything?
It doesn't sound to be, no.
So Mandy, your ask is that the council gives you, the authority to open the open Kohler pool. That's what you're looking for from us?
I'm looking for, the authority to open and to have that budget reinstated so that I can do that.
And what is the cost that you're looking for?
So there was 3 lines that were pulled, and one was the salary line, one was the uniform, and one was the office line. And those are the 3 things needed to be able to fully function.
Okay, do you have the total cost or do you have the breakdown?
I sent that in an email. I do not have it on me now, but that's what you guys asked me for, that I sent you.
Roughly 64.
That sounds about right. It's about 60,000 in salary. It's probably like 1,500 or something in uniform and $3,000 or something in office.
And Bill, that's available with the change with the department head salaries and with the fire department with the volunteer fires that was taken out of contingency. Is that still available within that amount?
There, we should probably have to fill a gap of about 8,000 is what I'm estimating, but we'd have to look again when we sharpen our pencils and see what the staffing actually will be, when we'll open, so what we need for the office. We can come up with those numbers and see what gap we have.
So I pulled up the email from April 7th. 60,840 was taken out of salary. 2,500 out of office.
And 1,500 for uniforms.
And 1,500 for uniform and clothing.
Sounds right.
Okay. Mandy, do you anticipate any additional costs?
Not that like I said, there certainly are different costs this year as far as, the different types of sanitizer, whatever, but we've always provided, we have a custodial line and the janitorial line in that. So the cleaners are a little different, but they're not, outside the norm of what I'd normally be purchasing. The couple temperature readers or whatever, it's things that can be covered in that budget.
Okay. So the temperature readers you anticipate being covered out of that line?
Probably out of the office line or what have you. We won't go over and above what the budget that I have.
And you're purchasing how many readers for Kohler and then how many readers for the senior center?
Possibly 2 for Kohler, just so my staff maybe have them separately. We're still not actually sure, like the health department isn't giving us specifics on actually if we have to take temperature of people coming in the building or if they just have to answer the questions, but probably 2 for Kohler, and I can't see needing more than 1 at the senior center.
Okay.
But they're inexpensive, so.
Okay, perfect. Then, Mr. Treasurer, if we can look at that line fully. with Mandy's proposal, and then if you can send us that proposal by the end of the week, we'll take a closer look at that. Anything else relative to Kohler? Okay, then let's switch gears to the Senior Citizen Center. So we have a target open date now of June 1st. Is that a realistic open date, Mandy?
I think that's something we can work with. Obviously, you know, Kelly just came back a couple weeks ago or a month ago now. There's a lot of cleaning that needs to be done. That building hasn't, you know, been touched in over a year or a year's time. But I think it's something we can do. It's going to be really hectic as far as trying to get that everything in place there, and trying to figure out a schedule. A lot's going to depend on what can happen with the pool and how what the hours in operation are going to be for that, as far as when Kelly can be at the center. We're probably looking at a couple times a week for a couple hours at a time. We just got to figure out that staffing at the pool is really going to dictate a few things as well, to see when Kelly needs to be there and when she can be at the center. But I think June 1st is a good date to shoot for, realistically.
Now,
So you're saying
you said
you
that
just have-
cleaning. Oh, I'm sorry, Dawn.
Nope, I'm sorry, Donna. So my question real quick was, you're only planning on having Kelly at the senior center twice a week?
No, probably 3 times a week, probably a Monday, Wednesday, Friday
Okay.
to start.
And then who's going to be there on the other days, or are those the only days that you're going to have it open?
Nobody.
Yeah,
I'm
to
sorry.
start, it's probably going to be limited hours to start, just like everything else is. We're just kind of easing back into everything. So it's probably going to be limited hours.
Okay, so that's why I'm stressing that we need to have some sort of a plan. So we as a council, when our residents, our seniors, reach out to us, we can tell them, yes, the senior center is only going to be open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this particular time. So I mean,
And
can you
we'll
guys-
hope that in place. We are meeting with the mayor. I believe it's early next month, Rick.
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll have a plan to everybody, outlining everything. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, activities will be on a reserve basis. And obviously capacity limits inside the senior
Right.
center, so.
Same with that, we're actually part of a symposium of senior center directors in West New York. So we've been on that the last couple of weeks, talking with them. I've reached out to all my colleagues that run the senior centers in Western New York. So we see what they've been able to do, what the limitations have been, what they are and what they aren't doing. A lot of it is really lunch right now and just starting to phase in some other activities. Some centers more than others, but it's actually kind of nice being able to see firsthand and learn from them. I have actual meeting for my Niagara Frontier Parks and Rec Society on Thursday. So we get to talk a little bit about that again as well, but they've kind of forced away because they had their opened their centers a little earlier. A lot of them had the lunch, the Erie County luncheon, and that's the main reason for their opening. But that's been incredibly helpful just to see what everyone else is doing, what they've been able to do, what they can't do, even suggestions as far as, coffee that you don't, we ask people to bring in their own, or they're serving it, and that gets kind of tedious if you have one person trying to serve any of the attendees type thing. So it's been incredibly helpful to talk to those colleagues and see what they're doing around the area.
No, Kelly, I'm sorry, Mandy, you mentioned that Kelly came back about a month ago, and that we have to clean the senior citizen center. I was under the understanding that the custodian was going in there maybe once a month to do a clean. Did that not happen?
Not really clean. They were basically flushing toilets and stuff. Do you know what I mean? To make sure that those general things, nothing happened because of the shutdown.
Okay.
Just to kind of, you know, a lot of the stuff was touched on with that presentation that was given to us by the senior committee. I think there was talk of volunteers and helping out with them. Is that stuff that you're going to be able to take advantage of with the people that were there? Is there any kind of organization of that?
I'm hopeful that those things can be in place, and I see that we had it a little bit when Dorian was in place, because there was times she was out of the center and she had somebody there. So it's nice to have, I guess, somebody in charge, but a volunteer that was kind of the point person. So it's absolutely something we're going to have to take advantage of. There's, you know, I've said this before with Kelly taking over this role. She's a full-time staffer that, you know, does earn vacation or has sick time and things like that. So I think a volunteer pool will be essential, and I think it's a great thing for both sides of the aisle. You know what I mean? So yes, and we're hoping to take advantage of that. I think that will help when we get into hopefully providing more and more. You know, hopefully restrictions ease, and hopefully the climate out there gets better, that we can, you know, be full force maybe by fall. But those things will be absolutely essential, really, for us to be able to do as much or more than we were doing before.
Gotcha. But she hasn't as of yet started working with the volunteers and kind of organizing that to any extent.
No, because I don't know if, that we haven't set aside specific hours or who we know need there when, because I think she's going to want to be there, you know, for the hours that it's open for herself at the beginning. This is new for her too. You know, we got to remember that too. It's a whole new experience for her. And, you know, she's learning too, and wants to be there as often as she can when we first open. So I don't know if it's something we'll put in place right away, but I know it's something we would definitely take advantage of in the future.
Now, some of the members from the senior citizen committee actually, you know, want to go in and volunteer and, you know, support the opening of the center. You know, can you reach out to them and kind of coordinate a meeting? And
yeah, we plan on reaching out and meeting with that committee. Like I said, the mayor and Kelly and I are going to meet in early May, and then we can facilitate those things after there once we have a, you know, idea what we're looking at.
okay, so there are some members from the senior citizen committee on tonight. So we'll expect that you'll follow up with them after that meeting with the mayor.
Correct.
Okay. Do you need anything else from the council in order to open up the senior citizen center?
Well, I hate to be the bearer of the budget thing as well, but there was, I believe most of that budget was cut as well. So obviously we can do basic things that aren't costing anything, but you know, our goal is to have that center doing the same or more or whatever. So we'd like to have special activities when, you know, when the climate allows and stuff too, but they're those budget lines were cut as well.
One of the things that the senior citizens committee proposed to us was increasing the lifetime fee and some of the fees associated with the membership. Can you get the council a proposal to increase that fee? And you know, is that something that you would agree with?
Absolutely. It was actually, you know, it was $1 for the longest time. It was probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I increased it to $5. And all that money actually goes to because there's a board that kind of oversees the senior center. That money was going to them. It wasn't going to the city, but they were able to do some programming and stuff through those funds as well. But I do think, you know, when you look around other centers, their fees are a lot higher than ours. And I think we can afford to have a bump up and have that benefit the seniors by doing so.
The committee did a great job in their presentation, and they cited other municipalities and what their costs were. Did you get a copy of the presentation?
I did.
Okay.
Kelly forwarded it to me. I didn't get it from them, but I got it from Kelly.
Okay. Okay, so if we can even look at the non-city resident fee as well.
For sure.
And maybe not make it a lifetime, have it, you know, I know surrounding senior committees are doing once a year.
Yeah, it's a little different throughout. So yeah, I think that's,
Yeah, instead of doing a lifetime, maybe that would help out a little bit more. Okay.
I understand that there are some belongings in the basement at the senior center that belong to other seniors. Have you worked out arrangements for them to come and pick up their
There's-
belongings?
there's been 2 or 3 people that have reached out, and those people, we got what they had there. I know there's, for the gentlemen that play billiards, I'm pretty sure most of them probably left their equipment there, but they're not using it anywhere else, but they haven't reached out. But the 2 or 3 seniors that reached out and had things there, we returned their things.
Okay, so if any senior citizen has belongings at the center, they need to contact you to
Yep.
schedule time to retrieve those belongings?
For sure. They can let me know what it is and I can get it, or they can meet me there and we can figure it out.
Okay. So next steps on opening the senior center, just to recap and bring this full circle, you're going to meet with the mayor and Kelly sometime early next month. And then following that meeting, you'll be reaching out. Chief Stewart is the chair of the Senior Citizens Committee. You'll reach out to him to schedule some time to meet with the committee members.
Yep.
Perfect. Council have anything else on the senior center?
No, I would just recommend that they follow, not unless you follow it, but the committee did put together a pretty good reopening plan. A lot of that legwork was already done and involved Mark Banks as well. Well, that may save you quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're very familiar because it's basically taken from CDC and the New York State guidelines or whatever, you can print those things out, but yeah, that's what they included in their plan. So it's very thorough.
Okay, perfect. Hearing nothing else on the senior center. I know we wanted to have a discussion on trees. And I'll kick it off to Dawn, Councilmember Dawn Cameron.
So I understand our policy and procedure. I've asked for a copy of it. We still haven't received it.
Wait. I have sent it. I sent you the policy. I told you what the policy was. I've sent it in emails. So for you to understand, I guess, the policy, that's what you received.
And I'm just trying to pull it up on my email now then. Well, anyways, I'll try to pull it up. Couple of things. We have residents that have emailed us. You're not responding back to them in a timely manner, or they don't feel that you're responding back to them in a timely manner. And if you are, you're not coming across very friendly to them. So it's very frustrating to me because I have them reaching out to us, telling us all the time, they feel like they're getting nowhere. I feel their frustration, Mandy, when it comes to the tree service. I understand why we have what we have going on. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get it.
Okay.
So maybe we can work on that in the future, be a little bit more courteous to the residents when it comes to responding back. Customer service background for me is huge. So I tell people the way I want to be treated is how I treat them. A little bit
And
of
I believe
respect
I do
goes a long
that.
ways. The other issue that I have is, let's say this tree issue, I have a nice big oak tree in my front yard. Okay. And I think I brought this up to an email in our conversations.
Correct.
Let's say my tree was affecting that sidewalk. The city would in turn do a drive-by, send me a citation telling me that I have, let's say, 30, 60, 90 days to get that repaired. So explain to me the difference that if it's a city tree that is lifting up a sidewalk that could potentially cause danger, major lawsuits back and forth to the city, why we're not addressing these. I understand that it's a cost standpoint, but I look at it as, you know, we have residents that are out walking their children in strollers, tricycles that they're pushing behind with these little kids, even seniors that are walking down my streets that, you know, there's sidewalks that they're dangerous for them, especially if they're in a walker. You know, we have seniors that are riding these motorized scooters on our streets because the sidewalks are heaving due to tree issues. So we have to come up with a plan, you know, moving forward in the future. I know grants have been very limited due to COVID-19, but we have to work together with these residents. on
Well, let me speak of especially sidewalks, because we do have a plan in place. And sidewalks and trees, while they're a lot of times the same issue, are different issues. So I'm not in charge of sidewalks. That is an engineering issue. So when a resident approaches us and says what you're saying, basically that tree is lifting up the sidewalk, the engineer is, we tell them to contact the city engineer. The city engineer is who goes out and they take a look at the sidewalk and they rate the sidewalk, and they do what they do. So it's put on a list. In the meantime, a lot of times, and again, I'm speaking for other departments that aren't my responsibility, but in the meantime, generally, DPW usually does a patch to make sure that the safety issue is taken care of. When and if that sidewalk is slated to be worked on, to be replaced, that is when I enter the picture. So there are industry standards as far as when you have tree and sidewalk conflicts, which we have a lot of. And it's changed. It's actually changed in my tenure of the recommendation of when to take the tree down and when not to take the tree down. And it's a lot more stringent now. So we take a lot more trees down now than we did 10 years ago because of sidewalk conflicts. So so there is a plan in place, but it's a multi-layered plan. It involves many different departments. So I can't do anything about sidewalks. It's not my jurisdiction. And I don't do anything about a healthy tree until work is getting done. So that's kind of the theme for any work or any healthy tree, is they don't come down unless specific work is being done, and that's going to destabilize or hurt or harm the tree in some way. So sidewalks, perfect example. If it's too close to sidewalk, the industry standard now is if you are within 3 dBHs, dBH is like the standard height, like chest height, the circumference of the tree. If it's within 3 dBHs of that tree to the sidewalk generally, and they say within 1 to 1.5, you need to take the tree down, because what you're doing is you're cutting like the main buttress roots that becomes unstable. And so the recommendation is to take the tree down. So you're going to see in those instances that we take down some healthy trees, and that's one of the only times we do. Then it's like I said, so I get that list from the engineers about what sidewalks are coming up, and we make the determination about what trees are interfering or need to be handled. So you'll see, like last year, we took down 25 trees because of sidewalk work that is currently going to be happening this year. Should have happened last year, but didn't because of COVID. So there is an active plan in place. There's industry standards that are followed as far as that. We don't take things down until they're slated for that work to be done, and that work is determined by other departments. So I can't, taking the tree down doesn't remove the roots underneath the sidewalks that heaved them to begin with. So until that work is done, we're not going to remove the healthy tree.
So, Mandy,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry if I can just ask a question. So I pulled up the tree policy. When was this adopted? Do you know?
Before my time.
Okay. So this exact policy that you sent to us
Has been in place since before me.
Okay. And now, I know you don't speak of sidewalks, and I understand that. We do have a sidewalk list. So if a resident calls and says, hey, can someone come out and evaluate my sidewalk? we, city representatives go out, evaluate the sidewalk, they grade it, and it goes on to a sidewalk list. Do you have a similar list that you utilize for trees?
For like, so most of our calls come in that people are looking for us, excuse me, to trim the tree. Hold on one second. To have their trees trimmed, to have them evaluated for removals or things like that. So a lot of the work we do is very active to those phone calls. What happens after that point is our tree goes out and inspects the tree, sees what work needs to be done. Whether it's needs to be trimmed, it gets put on the trim list. If they think it needs to be removed, it goes on the list, and that is forwarded then to our city arborist for a second opinion for anything that they believe needs to be removed. And then from there, it goes on the removal list.
Perfect. Okay. So approximately how many trees do we have on the removal list right now?
So let me give you a little background for that. Let's do my 10 years. So we actually, in 2013, we did a tree inventory, and that was, a few years after the October storm, and that gave us a lot of great information regarding our forest. We had about 6,000 trees at the time. Coming out of that inventory, it was recommended, I think it was between 400 and 500 trees that needed to be removed.
Right.
We have removed since 2011, we've removed just over 600 trees, which is actually good considering back in 2013, they were saying 400 to 500. So generally, general upkeep, especially with a forest that size, when you're removing probably 75 a year, that's general maintenance and what you're going to see. And that's probably about the average of what we have yearly that we have removed. A lot of it you're seeing, and John can speak to this as well, is that you're really seeing we're 15 years after that storm now. So the things that lasted, we got them last for 15 years, they're really in bad shape. You're going to see it again. Like, I think a lot of the phone calls we received, and probably you received, is because while we're doing a lot of removals, National Grid came through our city as well. And they don't do a really pretty job as far as their responsibility is to the wires and the wires only, and they don't care about the trees. So if you look at some of the streets that they did the trimming away from wires, a lot of those trees are going to need to be removed because of their instability, they're uneven, they're leaning now. So you're probably going to see a lot of those removals in the next 5-10 years as well.
So how many removals do we have on this list? You said,
so
we
we've done over 90 this year already, and there's 25 left on the list right now.
Okay. And that's full removal, right?
Yeah.
To the stump?
Right. So we do it in stages, and you'll see that, like, you'll see they're all up. We take them down to a butt, and we take the tree butt down, and then they grind the stump, and then we soil and seed. So we do it so that we're doing a whole chunk of them, because we need outside departments help as well with that. So like DPW has to help us with the tree butts because it involves the fantail and those kind of things or whatever.
So included in your tree policy, you also sent the arborist report, and that was from September of 2020. Do we have a more recent arborist report that perhaps Dawn can link the report to the complaints that she's getting from her residents?
So the only time the arborist is involved is like if we check out a tree and we think it needs to be removed, then it goes to him for a second opinion. So I have all those on file since I believe it was, I want to say 2016 is when the council had asked for that policy to be put into place, that you wanted the arborist opinion on those removals.
So do we have a more recent report since September of 2020?
What are you referring to?
So there's an arborist report. It's a hazard tree inspection report, and it was sent to us along with the tree policy. It's 7 pages in length. And I'm assuming this is the recommendation to remove.
That's an ISA standard, I think, isn't it? That doesn't change. Sorry to
So what I
interrupt you.
gave you, you
No.
guys had looked for like you just kind of wanted to see what we were doing. So I gave you a picture of it. That's probably not all of them from what he did in September. You just asked for
Okay.
like an idea
Oh,
of what
right.
Okay.
is seen.
So
So
it's
I
just
mean,
a snapshot. So
that was just a
obvious,
snapshot.
okay, okay.
There hasn't been more. Actually, John just delivered some to me today. So I think September was the last time. And then he just did it's probably about quarterly that I send him out.
Right.
Because we can't get to the tree removals any quicker than that anyway. So it's about quarterly that I give him a chunk of probably 25 trees or something for him to look at and
Right.
report back to us on.
And Mandy, these trees that you give him to look at, are these trees that I've sent you and homeowners have called you on, or other? Okay,
It's mostly that. I also do, part of my responsibility is I do a visual inspection every year citywide or whatever. So there's ones that I make decisions on or I pass on that I think are in not great shape or whatever. So it's not always just resident driven. It's ones that we see. Obviously we can't have our eyes on 5,000 trees throughout, the whole summer, but when the guys see something that they think we need to take action on, or when I do my inspection, John does the same thing. If he's out for a couple, he sees one that he thinks is an issue, so he'll bring that to our attention and we go from there.
and what do you mainly look for? Just the tree itself? Could it be leaning? I mean, I don't know.
Well, let me just say, I've been here all night, so I got to interject something, right?
Absolutely. Come
We-
on in.
Yeah, we have a system where it was actually, Rick and Mandy and I put it together years ago, and it's a rating system of three different categories. A tree that's dangerous gets a 1, has to come down right away. Most of our trees that are coming down are these old Freeman maples and Silver Queen maples. And the reason we have so many of them is because if you remember elm trees, when all the elms were removed were removed and died and were removed, they replaced them all with these maple trees. Now, in their time, they were good because they're seedless. I don't know if you ever noticed, we don't have maple seeds all over our streets. But we have all maple trees. Figure that one out, right? There's no helicopters. It's because they're seedless, they're hybrids. But they're getting to the point now where not only the storm of 2006 has taken a toll on them, but the age of the trees, they're starting to fall apart. Even just from too much, sun scald and things like that. So there's a lot of danger out there. And that's what we have to keep our eyes open for. These big deadwood branches that most people wouldn't notice. Things like that, So
you'll see in his report, like he'll write the things that, he'll talk about deadwood, he'll talk about girdling roots, or talk about age of the tree, or it's unstable because it's heavy on one side and not on another. So these are industry standards and things that he goes by and that he'll list as far as the reasoning for his belief for why it needs to come down.
a lot of air pockets underneath these trees because they've outgrown the space that they were
Right.
originally planted in. So they grow over the sidewalks, they get air up underneath them, and you can actually see some of these trees rock in the wind.
Right, and I think Mandy and we've had this conversation before, because there's one in particular that I'm well aware of. And I don't know, Mandy, did you send him out to take a look at that one again? I think you know which one I'm talking about. Mr. Goodman?
Right. No, he is not looking at it because we don't recommend that one for removal. There's
And
nothing.
why
in that
are we
group.
not recommending that one? Because it kind of, the way Mr. Ruck is explaining it, that's what this tree is doing.
There is no rot in that tree. It does not have any of the things that the others. If you look at the reports that he provides and the health of those trees, this tree does not meet it at all. It is a healthy tree.
Well, trees sway in the
Really?
wind. There's no doubt about that.
Right, I get
probably
that.
shouldn't have used that for an example.
No, but I
No.
understand that. But my concern is this particular resident reached out to me and said in 2006, this tree was looked at. And at that point, it was made to this resident that this tree must come down. Well, this tree is still there.
Again, in
But-
2006, there was a billion different tree workers in our city, so I don't know who we spoke to, but in 2013, we did an inventory that inventoried every city tree. And the health of that tree, I believe that tree was in fair condition and it continues to be to this day, so.
And do you have that list? Because I've asked for that list and I haven't gotten it
For-
unless you sent it to me and I didn't receive it.
For what list are you speaking of?
2013, all the healthy
You want the
trees.
you want the entire inventory? You didn't ask for the inventory. You want the entire inventory? It's a very large file. There's 6,000 trees. You can have that if you want, but that, I was not asked for that. You can certainly have the entire inventory if
You have
it,
nothing on this tree from 2006.
I wasn't the director in 2006. No, they didn't actually. So 2006 was the year that Parks actually took, Recreation actually took over Parks. So it was actually DPW's responsibility up until that point. And honestly, like our tree program has completely changed since then. Before then, they only took down trees that actually fell down. So we actually have a professional, system in place. We've had 3 different grants that we've gotten from that time, including the inventory and a planting grant and treatment plants. So, 2006 was just the first couple months before that storm that we were even in charge of trees. So they didn't have any notes from before then. They didn't have anything. And like I said, I urge caution because there were so many different tree people in our city, from FEMA to whatever, that were, there was trees marked with dots and things or whatever. So I can't speak to who he spoke to 15 years ago. I wasn't in this position. We had just become in charge of trees, and I highly doubt it was anyone from our department, because the trees that needed to be removed at that time were removed.
Okay.
Mr. Rock, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How long have you been our city arborist?
I started as a volunteer with Alice Roth. Okay, and
Wow.
I did volunteer work, and then I did a paper inventory of the whole city, means that I wrote everything down, all the trees, but I identified them. I didn't assess them. I did that during, oh, come on.
2013.
I could think that, yeah. And then when Mandy came, she got all these grants and we were able to do a proper inventory, and I hired 4 of my colleagues to come and help. They were good people that helped out with that. And since then, there have been at least two more grants to replace trees. So I believe we planted quite a few more than we've removed. So, does that answer your question, or I get off on a tangent?
It does. No, thank you. And this has been very helpful.
Yep.
Recently, we've received an influx of calls from residents regarding trees. And I appreciate you both for coming tonight to talk to us more in depth about trees. And
I think you can see, Jenna, if I can just make a point, in the couple emails you guys received, you can see how this is this is a subject that people are very passionate about on both sides. Like, you've seen people that are, adamant and upset about the number of trees coming down. And then you have people that are adamant and upset that their tree is not coming down.
Right.
Right.
It's a very emotional thing for people. I get it. I'm a tree hugger myself. So it's hard, and that's kind of why we have to be steadfast in having some of these policies, and some things have to kind of be black and white, because you start going down that road and it changes things. We start doing removals of healthy trees for one reason or another, and you're going to take down 1,000 trees. It's kind of the reason we were proactive. We're one of the only municipalities that treated for the emerald ash borer. We saved 400 trees at that time. Are some starting to wean and we're taking a couple down here and there? Yes, but we're 10 years into that now. Whereas everybody else, like if we had to take 500 trees down, the impact that would be just a, quality of life and those things, and trying to replace it. We've been very forward thinking in the city, and we've gotten a lot of support from council and stuff for going for those grants and doing those things. And, I hope that continues, because, we need to continue to be on a pace of, my belief is to plant one for every one that you take out. And John spoke to this. It does look like, we are removing a lot. It looks like we're moving a lot, but in like my tenure, like I said, I think we've taken down over 600 and planted almost 1,000. So it may not look like it. Obviously you can't plant a 40-foot tree and you're starting from scratch, but all you can do is be better going forward. You learn from past mistakes. I'm not going to put a huge tree in a tiny little, plot of land. So you educate yourself and you do better going forward so that, my successor someday doesn't have to deal with some of the issues that we're all having to confront for our residents.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I think it may be helpful for the council. And I think at one point, Mr. Newman suggested a Parks and Recreation report. We receive reports from department heads, monthly. I think the reports, perhaps if you could forward those to the council, relative to the trees, would be very helpful for us. Each of the council will be knocking on doors this summer, and we just want to be able to answer that. And if a resident reaches out to us, we want to be able to answer to that concern.
I could do that.
Ms. Kamendiner, if you,
Yes.
the next time that Mandy gives me a list of trees, if you want to go out with me for a day or a couple hours, I'll show you how to assess a tree. I don't have a
That'd be
problem with that. I've done that before with council members.
Yeah,
Mr. Ruck, I would like to join you as well.
I don't have a problem with that. That's something I can, no problem.
yeah.
But it
I
won't
would
be until
encourage that.
summertime.
That's okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like a
I
field trip.
appreciate trees.
A
Yeah,
field trip. Yeah, there you go.
just so you can kind of get an idea of what you're looking at, right? I mean, you're looking at the bottom of a tree and
Well, that's another thing. And a lot of these
Not just about
assessments,
not necessarily at the bottom, right?
Jim helps a lot too, our tree guy, because he gets up on the top of the trees with a bucket. He can see things I can't.
Right.
Yeah, so he can do an
Well-
aerial inspection, and that's why it's
Right.
helpful for them to work in conjunction with each other.
That's
Right.
why
I
get
just
my
want to
trees trimmed
clarify,
every 5
I don't want to
years.
go up in a bucket.
No,
Yeah,
me neither. Me neither.
I want to go in the bucket.
Thanks.
You go in a bucket?
I want to go in a bucket.
Does it hold about 3 hundo?
Well, I appreciate you both.
I do too. Thank you.
For all of this information. It's very helpful for us. And my takeaways, Mandy, if you can send us those reports, I think that would be very helpful to the council. And then Mr. Ruck, if you could reach out, to the council in the summer.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do 2 sessions if you don't mind, with the council, so we can learn more about how to assess a tree. I think that'll be helpful as well.
It'd be
Sure.
very interesting.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you guys both.
So,
You'll know
Anything-
more than you ever wanted to know about a tree.
Come on, I can't just look
Yeah.
at my oak tree in the front yard and be like, yep, it's still alive.
there you
At
go.
least you know an oak. A lot of people don't know the difference between.
Oh, no, I
different
know it's an
species, so-
oak. I actually had a tree company that wanted to take it down 3 years ago. And I said, no, because it's not dead.
Good tree hugger.
Yep.
Anything else for, in regards to the trees? All right. Thank you, Mandy and Mr. Rock. I appreciate you
Yes.
both for coming tonight.
Thank you
Well,
both
thank
very
you.
All
much.
right.
You guys
Thank
all
you.
look
Thank you
good
very
on
much.
TV. Every one of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
I enjoyed the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, council, anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Ms. Cameron, thank you for scheduling that with Mandy.
Yes, thanks to
Helpful.
Mayor too for inquiring about it and having her join us.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
All right, anything else for tonight? All right, everybody, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn in memory of Father Mike. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Madam President.
Second by Ms. Cameron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Have a great night, everybody. Stay
Thanks,
safe.
guys.
Good
Stay
night.
safe.
Everybody.
Thank you all. Stay safe.
Good night.
Night.
Okay, everyone, thank you for participating in our meeting tonight. I will be ending the call momentarily.